In 100 years, which is like the year 2123, we'll all be with our families and friends, resting in peace. Strangers will live in the houses we worked so hard to build, and someone else will own everything we have today. Most of our stuff will either be given away, thrown out, or destroyed. Even the expensive car we bought may end up in a scrapyard. Our descendants probably won't know much about us or remember us. I mean, how many of us know the name of our grandfather's father? After we pass away, it might take a few more years, and then we're just a picture on someone's wall. A few decades later, our old photos and accomplishments become part of history and are forgotten. If we stop and think about these questions, we might realize that worrying about 95% of the things that occupy our minds every day is pretty pointless. If we can keep this in mind, our thoughts and actions could change for the better. We might feel more free to enjoy our lives. So remember this. If it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes being upset about it.
Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to episode number 188 of the State of Fitness. Today is November 29th, 2023. Thank you for joining me. I hope you are doing well. Been a little bit since I've done a State of Fitness. I had a cohort of students that I worked with from about July until 2 weeks ago. And so there were a number of kind of private lives that I was doing each week with that group, but I'm happy to be back. Excited, actually, really am. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I'm David Greenwalt. I'm the founder of Leanest Lifestyle University. For 24 years now, going to be 25. Would it be 25? It'd be 25 coming up here in January. For 24 years and counting, we've been using science and experience to help our clients get to and live at the weight they choose, in the body and with the fitness they desire so that they can live their best life. 24 years. For first-timers, each Wednesday on these States of Fitness, I can discuss anything weight management-oriented, health-oriented, fitness-oriented that's top of mind for the week. Whether you've been with me for a week or whether you've been with me for 300 weeks or whether you're someone brand new or you're someone just thinking about possibly giving us a look. This State of Fitness is my 188th since February 5th, 2020. And I try to make the subject so that they will be appropriate for anyone, no matter where you are in your journey. There will always be something to learn, something to take away from it. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel here, and you do find by the time you get done listening to me tonight that you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. It kind of lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much. So let's start off by taking a quick look at some student highlights from this past week. All right, here we go. Oh, what do we got here? All right, so Mary and I are heading out in the morning on Thursday, headed to Dallas to see grandkids. Going to see Jackson and Carter. This is them. It's been a few months since we've been down there. Of course, we see them on FaceTime, but we're really excited to be able to go. They're just growing. Jackson is going to be 3 in February, and Carter is 1.5. So, just love. Can't measure it, as a grandparent. You just can't measure it. It's so off the charts. So, really excited about that. We take off early in the morning. Now, let's get this thing rolling. All right, top maintainers. So, at Leanest Lifestyle University, we really do focus on lose the weight one more time for the last time. Everything we do from start to finish is about that. These students exemplify what it is that we're all about. These students are current members, so I'm not pulling members from the past. These are current members currently enrolled. And what you're seeing here is you're seeing obviously the student's name, the number of days that they've been in maintenance, and how much weight they've kept off, including their most recent weight. So I didn't take their highest weight ever and their lowest weight ever. This is their weight that they started with us at, and whatever their most current weight is, that's what you're seeing there. So all the students that don't have a color behind them, they have been maintaining for less than a year. The students in green have been maintaining for at least a year and not quite 2 years. The students in orange have been maintaining for over 2 years, and the students in blue have been maintaining for 4+ years with us at Leanness Lifestyle University. So big congratulations. Comment, please. Give them some love. These students are living the dream, so to speak. It doesn't mean they're not working. It doesn't mean the dream doesn't involve work still to maintain, but they have reached their lifetime goal, and they are living there for the number of days and with the weight kept off that you see, ranging from single digits up to 141.8 pounds Debbie has. So it's just outstanding, no matter what it is. People come to us from all different walks of life, and they come to us, they want to lose 15 pounds, and they may want to lose 250 pounds, all right? So let's keep this going. So this is just a little snapshot. I've been doing this recently, and I would say to students, you're at a new season low. And in my head, a season low is like the past 90 days. You know, there may be ebbs and flows, but in the past 90 days, the student's at a season low. And so the students on the right-hand column there are at a season low. They're at the lowest they've been in 90 days, but maybe not the lowest ever. And the students on the left are at their lowest ever they were sometime this week. So look at all these students that have hit a 90-day low, even during these holiday times, and also the students that are at an all-time low. Some of the students are newer, and of course that plays into them being lower for that early loss that is more likely to happen. So still outstanding. Let's give these students a big round of applause as well, and let's make sure we recognize them. So anyone that's working as hard as these students are deserves credit. So I wanted to just highlight this. I got this from a student, and I'm just going to read it to you. I thought it was really cool. I've been an LLU member for 20 years. I've had my stumbles along the way, but have never gotten close to the 230 pounds from when I started. Thanks for all your support and guidance. My life would be very different without LLU, and not in a positive way. This is a male student maintaining a 45-pound loss with us. I just appreciate it so much. It means so much to hear the feedback, and also to know that we're really making an impact in this gentleman's life. So thanks so much for saying so. I want to highlight Joyce B for hitting the maximum points on campus. The maximum points you can hit on campus is 149, and this was her first time hitting 149 points. She's only been with us a couple of months, but she has hit the 149 points, so I want to make sure that we give her a shout out for that. Lindsay, just recently, she's down 34 pounds. She's down 34 pounds since May to October. She posted this, but since I haven't done State of Fitnesses, I couldn't share it that easily. So I want to make sure that I give Lindsay a shout out here for doing such a good job. Is that an amazing difference or what? Look at that difference. And she posted, she said, so it's not the best comparison photo because I'm not sitting in both, and there's a dog, but left is when I started LOU, right is last week. So way to go, Lindsay. Congratulations. Good things to come. She's still rocking and rolling, still in her journey. Ronnie, outstanding. Ronnie was in that secret cohort. It wasn't a secret cohort. It was called Fit for Fall, and we had a small group of students that did that. I was with him for 18 weeks. Ronnie was in that cohort. And so over a period of 18 weeks, finishing a couple of weeks ago, Ronnie lost 54 pounds. He posted this on his Facebook page, so I wanted to highlight him. Outstanding, Ronnie. Again, congratulations. Way to show everyone how to do it. Way to be an inspiration to us all. Let's see. Becca. I want to highlight Becca. Becca's in maintenance. Becca's 159 days in maintenance now. She's down 100 pounds. She hit her 100-pound mark on June 23rd, and she has been maintaining since that date, and that's 159 days as of today. So way to go, Becca. Outstanding. We're super proud of you. Becca is what we would call a freshman in maintenance. So it's the early phases of maintenance, and she's working it. She's learning. She's growing. She's adapting, and she continues to apply the 6 pillars as we teach them and get them available to everyone. Okay? All right, let me just hit, what's this? Oh yeah, I want to make this announcement, and then I'm going to be on camera here for a bit after this. But I want to make the announcement. The connection between us and MyFitnessPal was broken for a bit. It's back. It works. It's good. Your meals come over the next day. So when you log on MyFitnessPal on a Wednesday, they come over to us Thursday morning about 6 a.m. Central Time, something like that. They come over once a day, so it's not in real time. But I want to make sure everyone knows that if you're using MyFitnessPal, all your data is coming over to Leanest Lifestyle now, like it should be. So that's going to be really handy for we coaches and also the students as well, to have all of your nutrition data if you're logging foods on our site and not just on MyFitnessPal where we got to go look. One of the things that's really cool about that too is in the past few months I did some tweaking, refining, and improving how you can submit a day for a coach to review it. And that's something that I think really gives logging foods some real teeth. You know, you can log foods and you can learn a lot just from logging foods. But when you log foods and then there's a coach on the other side of a button that says submit this day for a coach review, and there really is going to be a coach review it, that's where it can really, really have a strong impact. Sometimes the day will be okay, sometimes it'll be just fine, but in any event, there will be some kind of feedback where there's a very good chance you're going to learn something and something of value about the meals. So even the experienced students, I find, it's one of the areas where even if they've been with me a couple of years, every now and then, if they'll build a day and they just, I'm just going to submit it, there's almost always something that they need to be reminded of, something that can be tweaked, and to make improvements that are actually going to make a difference, not just to be nitpicky. Okay? All right. Okay. So kind of next up, I'm just going to read this. It's virtually impossible to overestimate the lack of importance of just about everything. I'll read it again. It's virtually impossible to overestimate the lack of importance of just about everything. So I want to tell this story because I was doing a Zoom one-on-one with one of our clients, and she had really gone through a tough weekend, an emotional weekend, and it was pretty obvious to me, it really struck me that there's just too much importance being placed on too many things. And I was reminded that, if you don't know me, I was a police officer at the age of 21, barely out of college. In fact, I had to delay some classes at the end because I got hired. Excuse me, I got hired and couldn't even finish my last semester until I'd been on the job a little bit. But anyway, 21 years old, just really not even barely out of college, and I cared about everything. I was overly conscientious. I always wanted to do a good job, was always trying to do my best. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I placed too much emphasis on everything. And as such, I had a senior patrolman who was a field training officer with me, and he'd been out about 15 years at the time. Hang on, somebody sent me a message. I got to see what it is. So anyway, he had been out about 15 years, and he said to me, you're not going to make it in this field as a police officer unless you can just let some things go. And he said, you got to say it with me. He goes, who cares? He's like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Now, he was an excellent officer, conscientious, did a good job represented the department well, arrested bad people, did what he was supposed to do. He wasn't lazy. It wasn't about that. And so when he said, who cares, it was about compartmentalizing. It was about understanding what's important versus what's most important. And it was also about letting it go. Let it the F go. See that at the top there? Well, you didn't see it at the top. It was here. See when it was there? Let it the F go. So that's what it was more about. And at first I was like, man, how do you do that? But he was right. And over time, I learned. And he continuously reminded me. And as time went on, I was a good officer. I was diligent. I arrested bad people. I did what I was supposed to do as a police officer. I rose and climbed and did, was recognized and all that stuff. So again, it wasn't about being lazy or just not caring about people or not caring about the job. It was about compartmentalizing and recognizing that important is not most important. We can't care about everything at a level where it's a 5-alarm fire, or it feels like it's a 5-alarm fire to our body and our psyche and our mind and our emotions. And so it's about not giving the overwhelming minutia we're barraged with on any given day and week more of our emotional energy than it all deserves. It's about not giving that overwhelming minutia more of our emotional energy than it deserves. If any of us should be so lucky, if life feels that way and health is reasonable and all the things where we would feel like we're lucky to make it to 90 years of age. If things go well, we make it to 90, will whatever has you stressed today, will whatever it is that you're giving too much emotional energy to today, will whatever it is that has you in fight, flight, or freeze mode really be something that you'll remember when you're 90, let alone care about? Right? I doubt it. Who cares? Everything can't be a 5-alarm fire. It's important to realize that important is not most important, and everything can't be most important. It's virtually impossible to overestimate the lack of importance of just about everything. Most things just aren't at the level of importance that too many give the emotional energy to as though it was. So 20 some years ago, I taught a lesson called important is not most important. And I really in my mind, split it up into important, just kind of the things that are, important to everyone: work, errands, bills, house chores, yard work, whatever. All the stuff that's in the daily whatever. And today we've got check email and whatever it is in our new modern, social, digital, wired, connected, whatever. But then if important is not most important, then what is most important? And I thought at that time, 20 some years ago when I made this list, at that time I thought, what would I say is most important? And I had on the list at the top, strengthen personal growth. Keep growing yourself. Grow the inside. Keep growing as a person. Never stop growing and learning as a person. We're never going to have it figured out. I don't care how smart someone is. I don't care how well accomplished. I don't care. We're never going to have it all figured out. We need to continue to strengthen personal growth. Keep becoming a better person in some way. Second thing was honor yourself. Third thing was, at the time I put your soulmate on a pedestal. And if you have a soulmate, I still believe that. Put your soulmate on a pedestal. Not be blind if the soulmate is just not a good person, but forgiving the little things, forgiving the human factor, and put your soulmate on a pedestal so that you really do look at them that way. I said lead by example as far as most important. Lead by example, especially children. Nurture relationships. Relationships are so key to a life of fulfillment and happiness and contentment. Be grateful and say thank you often. Forgive. Take responsibility. Give hope. Give hope to someone else. Give hope to yourself. I said the last two things I had on the list then were pursue a worthy endeavor and persist without exception. I believed in it so much when I kind of came up with this important is not most important that I had a shirt made and, and I put the idea on the back. And I was looking and I found I had made it into cutoff, sleeveless. And here it is. Important is not most important. Got the important stuff on one side and the most important stuff on the other. The shirt is probably 20 or so years old. Yep, that's a manual cut with a pair of scissors to make that thing a sleeveless. And I thought about it as I pulled it out. I thought, do I believe in it as much today as I did then? Almost all of it. Yes, almost probably. It's virtually impossible to overestimate the lack of importance of just about everything. So keep the self-care, self-love, emotional fitness high. Be that good friend to yourself. Treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. Keep growing, keep learning, keep strengthening personal growth. Nurture those relationships. Separate important versus most important. Think about when you're 90, is this going to matter when I'm 90? Am I going to remember this when I'm 90? Whatever the thing is that has me ramped up, whatever the thing is that I have anxiety about right now, will it matter? 99 times out of 100, the answer is going to be no. So say it with me. Who cares? I'm so grateful to that officer way back when I was 21 who kept reinforcing that and lived it. He had a great sense of humor. Like I said, he was a great officer. He went on to become chief. So he was able to compartmentalize it, and I'm glad that I had him as an early mentor in that category. All right, so who cares? Let it the frick go. Just let it go. All right? Okay, so moving on. I was talking with a student recently, and she had gotten caught in the sense that on Friday afternoon, she'd gotten caught. So it was Friday afternoon, she got caught. She was told that she'd be working all weekend. Surprise, you're going to be working all weekend. Weekend is when she normally preps food for the week. She doesn't normally work on the weekends. There was quite a bit of emotional stimulus, as I would call it, a stimulus. There was quite a bit of emotional stimulus from that demand of the workplace that you're going to work this weekend. Then that emotional kind of upheaval muddied the waters for clear thinking. But I don't want to get into all the emotional parts of that. What I want to do here is talk about how she had gotten caught without what I think of as a go bag. Now, I didn't make this up. If you have ever had to be battle ready, or you've been a journalist, or you've had somebody that's had to travel at the drop of a hat, you know what a go bag is. And before I go further, I said just a second ago that she had an emotional stimulus. I want to make sure you're aware of the relationship between stimulus, space, response. Stimulus, space, response. Between the stimulus is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. It's a Viktor Frankl quote. So powerful, so true. The longer I do this, the more true I see it being. Between the stimulus and the response is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. Choose our response. Between the stimulus and the response is a space. So this student had definitely felt triggered emotionally from the demands of work, as I said. She had felt that as a stimulus. There probably wasn't really a space that she was able to see or recognize, which is why we continue to work on emotional fitness. It's one of the pillars. But so there was a stimulus, work demands, you're going to come in. She felt kind of beaten up over it. Probably wasn't a space to recognize, but there most certainly was a response. And so it probably went stimulus, response, no space. Stimulus, response. And that can happen, right? It's like a triggering event. It's like a light switch. Something happens, boom. No thinking, we just respond. There's no space for a rational thought. We don't even recognize that there is a space. So there's not really a conscious choice at all, just stimulus, response. And a part of building emotional fitness is getting our emotional fitness to the point where we have enough bandwidth and ability to see the space. And then in that space, even if it's just very brief, if we can just put a little space between the stimulus and the response, we can make the better choice. But for this discussion, I want to focus more on something else here that was in play. She had gotten completely caught off guard with this, you're going to have to work this weekend. She didn't have any foods really ready that were on her plan that she could take with her. She was going to be gone 9-10 hours, both days of the week. She didn't have anything really ready that she could take with her, and where she was at, there wasn't going to be anything readily available. There were other options. She and I talked about those things. You can ask your husband to bring you something, da-da-da-da, she's married. Whatever it is, there's always things that could be done, but again, the emotional state that we can be in, and we've got that stimulus, and we have a response, we don't see the space. It was what it was, okay? All of this is really just more about talking to you about having a go bag ready. What's a go bag? So, no doubt, as I said, anyone who's ever had to be battle ready, military-ish, right, will know what a go bag is. But as these things go, a scene, this is how I see things a lot of times. And it's what I thought of as she and I were talking. You didn't have a go bag. There's a TV series, Newsroom, a scene from that popped into my head because I remembered the scene. Journalists who may have to hop on a plane at a moment's notice, as I said a little bit ago, they will have a go bag. One that they carry with them or in their car at all times. The bag contains most of the essentials that they need, items that will allow them to remain mobile for several days if they need. Okay, so let me play this clip for you.
Maggie?
Yeah,
Do you have a go bag?
what?
A go bag.
I have a gym bag.
Go.
Confirmed. Boston PD and the FBI.
Okay, so there you go. That's the scene that popped into my head. Do you have a go bag? No, I have a gym bag. Here, Mackenzie, the one who threw her the bag, was an executive producer, and she has a go bag because she's used to it. She has the experience. So I want to talk to you about having a go bag here. So have a go bag. Have something that's a just in case. Have something that's I got caught, something that's an emergency. I have to go here. What if somebody's sick, goes to the hospital? God forbid, but what if? What if you've got to go here, go there, you get called in? Whatever the thing is, have things ready for your go bag. And have things ready as much as you can that are real food, right? That are whole or minimally processed and only contain ingredients commonly found in kitchens, all right? Whole or minimally processed food and only contain ingredients commonly found in kitchen. Try to get as close to that as you can, but you want to a go bag of things that travel easily, that don't need, refrigeration, things like that. So first thing is there is some pretty close to real food beef jerky, this Paleo Valley company, and there's other companies because companies are starting to pay attention. That they're pretty close to real food. That's just one company of many. I'm not pitching for Paleo Valley. Rise Bar, it's a 3-ingredient bar. Their almond bar is. I think it's whey protein, almonds, and honey. So it's not like sugar-free or anything because of the added honey, but, let me get that on there. There you go, the Rise Bar, or a bar like that. As close to real food as you can is what you're looking for your go bag. Then I'm just going to pre-measured real food nuts. Why pre-measured? Because it's really easy to eat macadamia nuts, peanuts, walnuts, whatever it may be. They're real food, healthy, good, unless we overeat them and then they just don't work for us. Then we're going to get into the things that are, kind of vegetable based that are going to travel well. Baby carrots, cherry tomatoes, snap peas, cucumber slices, bell pepper strips, celery sticks, broccoli, cauliflower, radishes. Okay? And there's probably going to be some crackers and things like that too that are going to be processed, but still almost all real food ingredients, meaning whole or minimally processed and only containing ingredients commonly found in kitchens. So that's your go bag. Have a go bag ready. Don't get caught off guard. Have these things on hand so that just in case you can grab something and go. All right? But what about at home? When you're in that, I had no time to make anything, we did a no time to make anything kit. What can you do? At home, you've got a little more advantage. So the long column there is kind of everything that was on the go bag list. But then we can have some protein ready to go. Grill some protein, whatever. Cook it in some way, have it ready to go, and freeze it. Have it ready to go. If the protein's ready to go, you are so much further ahead, so much closer to where you need to be when, you get caught at home and there's no time to make anything. There doesn't seem to be anything ready to eat. So have these things, have at least some of these things in the long list column on hand. Have some protein cut. You get frozen fruit, fruit that's frozen where the ingredients are peaches, ingredients, bananas, ingredients, whatever. And it's going to be really close to real food. It's going to be great in a pinch compared to so many things that you might otherwise do. Mary's Muffins. I list that because if you're a member of Leanest Lifestyle University in Steel Meal, there are a variety, there are hundreds of recipes in there that members created and I've approved, but Mary's Muffins is just one. There's lots of different muffins in there, but Mary's Muffins travel well. They're not messy. They're all real food ingredients, and they freeze. You can grab them, so you could freeze them for months. You can grab and go, and they're just great to have on hand. Things like that are easy, quick, ready to go. If you're having protein and some vegetables, protein and some fruit and vegetables, you got it whipped. And there's other things. This is just some things. I'd love to hear, comment, what you would say would be something that would be in your go bag, and ideally, or your at-home no time to make anything kit, and ideally, things that are real food, whole or minimally processed, and that contain only ingredients commonly found in kitchens. That's kind of what we use to define real food: whole or minimally processed and containing ingredients commonly found in kitchens. All right, so I am going to, that being the week after Thanksgiving, I think what I'm going to do is there's one more subject that I want to cover. There were two, but I'm going to run too long. So I don't want to do that to you this week. I want to try to keep these in the new launch, starting back up of the States of Fitness. I want to keep these to 30 to 45 minutes and not go an hour, 75, 90, which is really easy for me to do. As you know, if you've been with me a while, I'm going to go ahead and leave you in this episode number 188 with what I refer to as my kayak on the river analogy. So with respect to weight management, it's important that you know that we're all in our own kayaks facing upstream on a river, not a lake. A river always has a current trying to drag us downstream. That's where weight gain is. You're on the kayak, you're on a river, there's a current because it's not a lake. There's always a current, and that current's trying to take you downstream. Downstream is where weight gain is. Weight loss is upstream. Upstream is weight loss. Downstream is weight gain. Not moving is maintenance. So the current's still coming. You're on a kayak facing upstream. And if you have no movement, you're not going upstream, you're not going downstream, you are maintaining. And that is why I say river, not a lake. Because we're in that kayak, what do we have to do to at least hold our position? We have to paddle. We have to paddle. We have to paddle whether we want to hold our position or we want to go upstream and lose weight. We have to paddle. If you take your oar up and set it in your lap, what's going to happen? You're going downstream. You're going to gain weight. If you're a weight fighter, if you're someone who has struggled with your weight, okay? That's who I'm talking to. That's who my clients are. Pull that oar up out of the water and stop. You're going downstream. It's not a lake. It's a river. So, paddle hard enough to hold your position. You're in maintenance. Paddle harder and go upstream. You can be in weight loss. Typically, during active fat loss phases, we have to paddle harder to get movement upstream compared to paddling just hard enough to hold our position. Okay? But even in maintenance, as I said, we've got to paddle. You've got to paddle. Again, what happens if we don't? Downstream, weight gain, relapse. Okay, that's what happens. Pull your oar up out of the water, you're going downstream. Something to keep in mind is that you're on this river. The river isn't always in the same condition. Okay? Sometimes the river is pure glass. If you've been on water at all, you know that sometimes it's just glass. So calm, so peaceful, so smooth. If you've done any water skiing, things like that, it's amazing when you get glass. And sometimes it's full of logs and debris and the current is crazy. Get to the slide here. So, this is what it looks like when it's glass, right? We barely need to paddle to hold our position. We're going to have to paddle somewhat harder to move upstream where fat loss is, but just to hold our position doesn't take much paddling. But it may also be like a class 5 rapids. You can be in maintenance and it can feel like this. And this is why we've got to paddle just to hold our position, let alone move upstream. Well, the holiday season, the holiday period we're in right now, it's almost never the example where the river is like glass. Almost never. Meaning it's going to be so easy, it's so smooth just to hold our position, let alone go upstream where fat loss is. Instead, it's going to vary because all of our holiday experiences vary, but it's going to range from probably a class 2 to a class 6 rapids, moderate to extraordinarily difficult. We are quite likely going to have to paddle harder just to hold our position for the next couple of months. So, as your coach, I can't be in that kayak with you, but I can be on the shore following along. And as I'm on the shore following along, or standing as you're holding your position, I don't have to follow along. I can just stand because you're just holding your position in maintenance. But if you're going with fat loss, I can follow along and I can remind you to keep your oar in the water and I can remind you to paddle. You have to keep paddling. You don't have to paddle necessarily all the time at a blistering pace, but you have to keep paddling at some level or you're going downstream where weight gain is. As I'm standing on shore, I can remind you why you said you wanted to do this. Not in a shame-filled way, but with the certainty that we cannot count on memory in this process. We can have a strong why, but we are likely to forget many parts of it as we go unless we're reminded of it frequently. So we can't count on memory, but we can count on amnesia. So I can be reminding you of your why as you're going. Oh, I'm so tired. I don't want to paddle anymore. Keep going. Remember why you want to do this. And all the elements that come into that. I can remind you of that. And sometimes, yes, as a coach, not just a friend of support, but as an actual coach, sometimes on the shore, I'm going to need to be very direct and straight with you. And I'm going to need to wear that black hat, as we say, that you don't want your friends and family to have to do. You don't. No matter how tempting it might be, you don't want to put your friends and family, especially a spouse, in that position where they have to wear the black hat, where they have to be the bad guy for accountability with you. I will take that position, and I do that too. You're the one paddling, though. You're in the kayak paddling. And just trust me, you don't want to have your friends, family, spouses, whatever, have to wear that hard-nosed accountability partner hat. But also more often, still from the shore, I can be encouraging and supporting you. So, I just wanted to, it's been a while since I brought that analogy out again. I just think it's a really good one to help us all remember that we're all on a river, not a lake in this process. We have to keep paddling at some level. We have to keep engaged in behaviors that are going to be supportive of our goals. Maintenance, fat loss, whatever it may be. And at no time are we going to do okay if we pull that oar up and put it in our lap. If we do, we're going downstream where weight gain is. The holidays are an especially trying time. It's most likely not going to be much glass right now. So this is a time where you want to make sure you're focused, you're diligent, you're aware of your needs, and you're aware of engaging support and the need for that. It's going to be especially important right now. Personal, professional, and spiritual support as needed. That's when I say engaging support, I'm talking personal, professional, and spiritual support as needed. You're going to want to be aware of that. You're going to make sure that you are focused on what you want. You're going to want to make sure that you are working to be consistent, that you're working your emotional fitness, your self-care, things that fill your cup, things that help you practice healthy selfishness. Healthy selfishness is not about you only, it's about also you. It's about putting you on your to-do list. So, keep your kayak facing upstream. Keep your oar in the water. Keep paddling. Upstream, oar in the water. Keep paddling. All right, that's where I'm going to leave it this week for this week's State of the Fitness. As always, find me if you need help, okay? I'm going to find you, but find me. I can't read your mind. I need you to engage support. That's pillar 6. I'm going to talk about the pillars more and more and more. There are 6 pillars that we work from. Engaging support is pillar 6. Need you to engage support. Right now, especially during this trying holiday time, it's especially important that you do so, okay? So that I can yell at you from the shore, the encouragement and also the straight talk. If you remember, hit me up on campus, find me on private messaging, DM me, send me a text. You know all the ways you can get a hold of me. Find a way, get a hold of me. Just make sure you engage. If you're not a member of Leanest Lifestyle University, just hit lluniversity.com, fill out the form there. It'll come to me, and you can get access to our Facebook group. You can even do a 7-day free trial, okay? So until next time, let's focus on what we want. Let's be grateful for what we already have. And remember,